Welcome welcome back to Journey to Peace with me. So this is just a quick video. This is our April challenge. And so if you're interested in how we are handling our April challenge, stick around. So let me just tell you now, I'm sorry for all the noise in the background. It's just our new normal. That means that I'm recording videos while my children are home, while I am home, while everyone is home. And so sometimes in these videos, you are going to hear my children, you are going to see them when I don't necessarily want them to be seen. All right, but it is what it is. All right, so as you all know, I told you this channel is about all of the journeys that I'm on to find peace in my life. It's not necessarily limited to finances, although that is the majority of the videos that I post. But for April's challenge is slightly different. April's challenge is Acceptance April. April acceptance, however you want to put it, hashtag, we'll figure it out. But basically, it's acceptance for the month of April. Acceptance that we are now in a new state of normal for us, and we're having to figure that out. So normal for me at this point now looks like everybody being home. We are all under a stay-at-home order at this point, so we are only going out for essentials. We're going out to the grocery store, which I am trying to limit us on how often we go and how long we're there. We are limiting it to only me or my husband going to the grocery store. It's not a family trip. We are limiting my children to being outside only in the aspect of getting exercise, and we're still social distancing. I've allowed my children to go and visit my parents, but in the driveway, waving, they miss them, but that was it. I have to be cautious because my oldest, big girl, as we affectionately call her, does have asthma, and so with her respiratory issues, she is more susceptible to this virus than the rest of us. I am more concerned about my parents because they are older, and although it may not impact me as much because I'm pretty healthy, it may impact them. So even if they don't want to take the necessary precautions, we are taking it for them. So that's one thing. We are accepting the fact that as of right now, our school district is closed until further notice. So what that means is more than likely we're not going back to school, and we're having to figure out how we're going to homeschool our children and how I'm going to work from home and homeschool them at the same time. We started our homeschool process for real this week. So on Tuesday, we began our process of digital learning, is what our district has called it. It went by okay. We have 3 kids here in 3 different grade levels. We have a kindergartner, a first grader, and an 8th grader. 8th grader, she is self-sufficient. She goes into her area of the house and she does her work. They've given her a schedule and she's been able to complete that. Our kindergarten, our first grader, they're not so self-sufficient. We do have laptops. They are on them and they are getting their work done, but they're still requiring help in getting in and out of applications. And so I'm having to stop work to assist them with that. My husband is also working from home. So we're in Zoom chats, we're in Google Meets. We're doing all of these things and trying to facilitate learning at the same time. And we're also trying to give them grace. We're giving them grace. We're giving ourselves grace. Grace as parents, knowing that we are parents first. And although we are our children's first teacher, we are not necessarily teachers, right? I told you in my last video that that's not my ministry. So I'm learning patience there. And so that is me accepting the fact that this is our new normal, okay? In addition to that, I am also having to accept the fact that up until recently, I had 2 debts that I was working on. I was working on my car payment and my student loan. And now I have added 2 debts, 2 consumer debts. I am not thrilled about it at all. But this channel is all about transparency, and so this is me being transparent. I now have 2 additional debts that I have to account for. They came up very unexpectedly, and it is what it is, and I'm just having to make do. So this is me accepting this is the state of the reality for me. So I'll tell you what happened. What happened was Dave Ramsey talks about not being a landlord by default, and that's what I am. I am a landlord by default because I owned a townhouse before my husband and I got married. We lived in that townhouse for a couple of years, and then we bought another house together. And since we have been living together, my townhouse has been rented pretty much every year, and I've only maybe gone a couple of months out of the year without having someone in there, but there was always money in that account to pay for the mortgage, so I didn't necessarily count that toward any of my debts. I didn't have to include that in my snowball budget or anything like that because there was always someone in there. Right now, there is someone in my townhouse, but because it's a family member, that person is not paying me more than it costs me to maintain that home, right? So what that means is when an emergency came up in the townhouse, it was on me. There was not enough money in the account to cover that emergency. There was a roof leak in the townhouse and I had to pay for it. Remember, I had depleted all of the money in our accounts in order to cover the tax deficit in our home when the tax bill came due. So once I had depleted those funds, there was nothing else for me to tap into outside of my emergency fund, which I had just built up. And I had just built it up, and then my baby girl needed a dentist treatment, and that was about $400. And then I needed a dentist treatment, and that ended up being $795. Then I needed glasses, and those glasses were $262 and some change. And then big girl was hospitalized, and she was hospitalized via ambulance. So that was some money. And so the roof leak caused damage on the roof and inside. And yes, while the HOA covered the exterior, I am responsible for everything on the inside. And the insurance that we had sucks on that townhouse. So I had to figure that out. So basically, where I am now on my debts, I wrote it down so I can keep myself honest and accountable, is I have put on $3,607.32 on my city card, and that was for everything related to medical. And then there is $7,613.23 on my Capital One card, and that was for the roof repair because there was mold because of the extent of the damage. So I'm having to accept the fact that I went from only having my car payment to now having an extra $11,220.55. Oh my God, that hurts to say it out loud. That I'm having to pay for. So I felt a little defeated because at the beginning of the year, the goal was to pay these debts down. The goal was to be out of debt by the end of the year. And so I felt overwhelmed by the fact that all of this came so quickly. Like Murphy had his way with me. I forgot my car. I had to fix my car. And that was $560. And that's only because I had a family mechanic. So all of this stuff just kept coming and coming and coming. And so I felt as if like, honestly, God, what are you doing? Why are you testing me? And it came down to me hearing, do you trust me? You set out for a vision for yourself by the end of the year, but do you trust me? Do you trust me enough to maintain your tithe? Do you trust me enough that I will provide for you? Do you trust me enough that I will see you through? The answer is yes, but cautiously is, why though, Lord? Why did you have to increase my debts to see if I trusted you? And that's on top of knowing that this pandemic was coming. But I do. So I have to put aside the shame of coming on here and telling you that while I was relaxed for the last year or so in the snowball, and I could have been done if I was gazelle intense, I'm basically starting over because I've added 2 debts. But the blessing in all of this is I told you that I just got a new job. And so with that job came an increase, and what a time for it. So with the increase, it is my prayer that I can still make all of this happen by the end of the year, and this is what I'm accepting. So we will see how it goes because we are still in this storm mode. Like, I think my job is pretty secure. But I want to make sure that I can rebuild my my emergency fund, and I can start to stack. And then once the money is there, then I'll just pay it off. Hopefully, I have enough money toward the end of the year. So this is me. This is acceptance April. April acceptance. What are you accepting this month? What is it that is out of your control that you are having to accept? Let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you can I hope you can give me some grace in the comment section down below about the fact that I have incurred these debts, but I've told you along the way what happened. So it wasn't as if I was just out there swiping my card, swipe, 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 this happened because such is life, and this too shall pass, and we'll get through it. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you are not already. See you in the next one. Until next time, journey on.